Now that my wires are getting a little shorter and are a little more manageable, I'm going to try a different approach to putting the wire loom on the wires. I've taped both ends of it up, and instead of trying to slip it through the slit, I'm going to try to feed the wires in through the loom and just slide it down. We'll see how that works. It may or may not be easier than the other way, depending on how easily those wires start into the loom. And then the other issue might be, once I get this on, get it in place, I have to run it underneath the distributor to get it over to the other side. So I've got the two wires here for the relays for the cooling fans, and I've also got the brown wire that's going to be the feed for the tack. Comes from the sniper, goes over to the tack. And I'm taking the opportunity to hide the wire that was supposed to be the wire that fed the controller for the transmission, the tack signal. But since I'm using the CAN connection, I won't be using that, so I just looped it up, taped it, put it inside that loom to get it out of the way. I thought about coiling it up and just tying it up somewhere, but when I tried to do that, it wasn't going to look neat. Well, it wouldn't look as neat as this. So I did leave, coming out of the sniper harness, the red power wire for the sniper that's going to connect to these two pink power wires from the, I guess it's the main sniper harness and the distributor. But for now, we'll see if we can run these wires now down through and around the distributor. What? I think that needs to run down under there. I think it can run right here. Aha. That'll be fine. It's behind the distributor. So that has 3 wires coming out of it now. It's got the 2 that go to the trigger for the cooling fan relays, and it's got the 1 that's going to feed the tack inside the car. I'm going to stop and think a little bit about where else I need to run that, or where best to run it, I guess I should say, and come back once I've decided. Okay, I've got connectors on the brown signal wire from the sniper unit, which is this one, ready to heat shrink it. And I've got one on the tack wire that's connected to the tack on the dashboard. I'll plug those two together. I'm going to use pliers because they might be warm. At least that one might be warm. Actually, that one's a little warm too. And if they don't get a good, and I don't think they will, get a good connection that's safe from, it doesn't want to go in very far. It's a solid connection, it's not going to pull out, but I'm going to have to tape that. There, it went in further. I'm still going to have to tape it. It's got a little bit too much exposed metal there that could short out on something, so let's give it a quick wrap of electrical tape. And then only two wires from this part of the harness are going to be the two trigger wires for the relays for the cooling fans. So these things will be able to be taken apart if I want, if I need to, but hopefully I won't. That's a single wire. I don't think I'm going to put it in a loom. I may change my mind later if I'm not happy with the way it looks. But these two orange wires need to go inside the passenger compartment. And there's a little I can't even see it, so I'm probably not going to even try to show it on camera till I get it cut. There's a little kind of nipple here that I think if I cut the tip of it off, I can just thread those wires through it. No hole showing yet, so I gotta snip some more. There. We'll take the camera off of the tripod and show where this ended up once I get these wires through. And I'll probably try to put a little bit of tape or something to make that waterproof, although it's pretty close to waterproof as it is now. Make sure I don't have these wires wrapped around anything. I'm going to go pull them from the inside. further under there with a light so that I can see what I'm looking for. I thought maybe I could feel it. Probably see the wire moving now. There's plenty of wire on there to reach to the connector on the fuse box that I want to connect it to. I'm going to pull that back out because I don't like the way it's routed. Because as it turns out, I went over the throttle cable and I think it's better under it. So I'm going to thread that under it, back through that hole again. Now I think that'll be right. Seems to be caught on something. Twisted or something. Caught right there. Make sure this is done. Okay. I can get that pulled in now. Okay. Take the camera off the tripod and show you what I was working with. There's the inside of that nipple. It had a hole started through it. And there I'm pulling the slack out of the wire that's out there. Now all I've got to do is route this about 1.5 feet or so, maybe not even that, and come across to where can I? Well, I can see it easily, but it's not on the camera very well. There's the fuse box. You can see 2 red and 2 orange fuses. There's an open wire right here. I'll pull that connector off, strip these wires, put them both under the same thing, crimp it on, heat shrink it, put it back in, and this will be done. So there's the 2 orange wires that go to the relay triggers. They're twisted together and put under one crimp and shrink connector. And then there is a connector. I don't know if you'll be able to see it on here. There's a connector that is down there that's available on the relay, or not the relay, but the fuse box, and it is right there. See if I can get the light from the camera. There it is right there. That's where I'm going to connect it. It's right below, above that green wire. You can see it looks like just a shiny dash, if you will. But once I get that shrink wrapped, I'm going to put that on that connector and we're done. Okay, right there you can see the blue connector with 2 orange wires coming out of it. That's connected to the fuse box. Remember, this fuse box is triggered by a relay. The relay turns it on when the ignition switch is on. So when I have ignition on, there will be power to the fan relays. The last bit of wiring I can do before I get that harness that connects the sniper to the transmission is to put a male spade plug onto the 3 wires that power the 3 components of the sniper system. Sniper itself, the capacitive discharge ignition box, which is mounted over here, and the distributor. So where they connect is going to be dictated by the length of this wire here. That's the entire length of the wire that was in the harness for the sniper. So I'm going to strip that off. And I'm going to drop all my tools into the engine bay. So now I have to figure where's the best place to route this and connect it to these other two. I'm going to leave those a little bit longer, give myself some slack to work with. Not a whole lot, but enough that I'm not struggling here. Got rid of some more excess wire. And then there's the one from the distributor. And I'm looking at that and I'm wondering if I should take this plug and wrap it around the distributor. Let's try that and see what it does for us. If anything. I think if I ever have to disconnect it over there, it's going to make it more difficult. So we're going to go with our original plan, the original routing. And I actually did what I don't like to do and wrap that around another harness. So let's put it this way. Much neater, or less tangled. I don't know if it's neater, but it is less tangled. Push that down there. Figure out, let's cut this wire to here. Strip these two off, and before I splice them together, one of the things I'm going to do is make sure they're not wrapped around something I don't want it wrapped around, which I think one of them right now is. So we'll These strippers are a nice idea, but there seems to be no way to predict where the stripping's going to start, where the insulation's going to come off of the wire. So, see what we have here. And get all three of these wound together. Put them in one. I think I'm going to need the large wire connector. These don't look like this is going to be good. I might have to actually take this connector off unless I can find a male connector that matches it, because this is not going in and making a good connection. But if I take this off and put the corresponding part from that, I think I'm committed to going with this one. Well, maybe I should check to see if I've got a connector laying around. I don't believe I do. Those things are hard to come by. You have to have taken something off that used one. I couldn't find a connector that would match that connector on that wire there, so I'm going to go with the plan to just put two of my own on that match. Okay, let's see if we can get a good crimp on this one right here. It feels like it's tight on the wires. Just need to heat shrink it. Now I'll cut off this one and put a matching connector. I left enough on there that if I have to, I can strip that wire off and lengthen it and use it for something else. So the first thing was cut it. I'll strip it. Put my connector on it. Crimp it. connect these up, then heat shrink it all. Okay, again, there's just a tiny bit of bare metal showing there, so I'm going to run a loop of electrical tape over it just to make sure that there's no short. That concludes all the wiring that I can do for the sniper system right now. Well, one more thing. And I don't know that I'll put it on video, but I am going to show you what I'm going to do, since they gave me this much cable and I need it to go from here to here. I am going to cut it and just put some solid wire connectors, the self-soldering tape, heat shrink and self-solder on there, just to neaten up the engine compartment a little bit. Some of it I can't do a whole lot about, but that I can do something about, and I am going to do something about it. There's the two solder connections that I made. Right over there. I am going to slip a sheath on them. I'm going to put a little bit bigger one on than what was on there. And the reason I'm doing that is because of those connections. I have to have a big enough sheath to cover them. Checking for tools. I can carry them over while I'm going. Throw a little light on the subject. I probably should have staggered where I cut those, but the way I measured them, I cut all 4 wires at once. But it might have been a better idea to stagger them. about there. There. That's a situation I'm happier with than what it would have been with the extra, probably 5 feet, 4.5, 5 feet of cable or harness. So there was one other thing that I couldn't finish as of yet. That is the sniper connection that goes to the ground of the air conditioning trinary switch that kicks the fan on when you turn the air conditioner on. So that will have to be done later when I have the trinary switch on. It's that orange wire right there. So that's it for all I can do for wiring up the sniper as of right now.